Alright guys, welcome to the Tyzula Q&A. So, yeah, as always with these Q&As, if I did not answer someone's question, that usually means YouTube is being an outright asshole, so I apologize for, not being able to answer these questions. If I missed anyone, that usually means YouTube is being a dick, and that just meant that, it either got marked as spam or didn't even have it show up on the list, so once again, sorry for that. But anyway, let's get into the question, starting with Treva Smolka, whose first question is, how did you come up with this idea? Because this felt random, just wondering. Well, kind of like I said in the Prelude video, I just kind of was thinking to myself, I haven't done, what would be an interesting Q&A? Talking about a ship. Let's do that. Let's see how that goes. That's literally how it came about. Second question. How would you make this relationship work? Because I have no idea how this would work out. Excellent, you'd ask. I think I would make it something to... You see, here's the thing, and I've always said this about... Actually, I don't think I've said it on here, but I've always said it about the pairing itself of Azula and Tylee, is that it's kind of like Joker and Harley... It's very much like Joker and Harley Quinn, where you have this almost irredeemable character with this very bubbly, it's like you want to save Tylee from Azula sometimes, but on the other hand, unlike the Joker, who's more or less irreparable, you can kind of see that maybe she can be rehabilitated, or at least calmed down a bit. I mean, there's no way of 100% curing Azula, there's no way of doing that, but maybe there would be a way to, tame her some way, keep her from snapping every 5 seconds, and I think Tylee is capable of doing that. So that's how I kind of felt the relationship worked, and it's those stories I really like, is that when you have Azula be Azula, but the difference is that there is a chance for redemption, but it's not exactly fully rehabilitation. It's more along the lines of she can control herself better, but at any given moment she can snap, but not at Tylee or something like that. She can still turn on somebody, but Tylee's still willing to give that a chance. Anyway, and your final question is, if you were to make a fanfiction in the Avatar world, what other characters would ship besides what other characters would I ship besides May and Tylee? Just wondering. Oh, okay. Basically, I guess he's asking what else do I ship with May and Tylee. Most of you guys don't. For those who don't know, the other ship I do have is Meiko, which is Zuko and May, and love that ship. But I did actually, I kind of pseudo ship May and Aang, which is called Mang, and the reason being is because I came across a fanfiction not too long ago, where it was a story of Katara and Zuko got together, and May and Aang in response got together through a bunch of hilarious circumstances. It's a kind of a dumb plot, but the writing in there was so good, and it more or less plays on both of their personalities of both May and Aang, and just seeing those two hang out and and do stuff, like you hear this very chipper, very happy-go-lucky kind of guy, and you have this gloomy girl and now they're dating. So it's a very hilarious idea, and again, the plot's very generic, and like, oh, Zuko and Katara broke up with their significant others and decided to be together. Ooh. But then, when the story progresses, it's like, this is just... And even the author goes, yeah, this is just stupid, and I know it, but I'm having fun with it. I think the story got discontinued, honestly, but it's hilarious. I think you can still find it on fanfiction.net. I can't remember what the title is. Just look at the May and Aang ships, and you'll probably find it. Hopefully it's still there. Anyway. Thank you for those questions, Trev. Oh yeah, for Tylee, almost forgot Tylee. For Tylee, I kind of also ship her with. There are some few like I can have her with Sokka, or it's Sokka, or possibly, but I just see her more with Azula. But with I've read some good stories with her and Sokka, so that'd be my other secondary ship with her. So, thank you for those questions, Treva Smolka. Moving on to Zach the Thunder King, who asks, how would you do a Tyzula movie? I don't know. You sure you want to ask me that? Because it wouldn't exactly be a movie made for kids, I'll tell you that much. That's all I'm going to say. Alright, if Tyzula did a double date, who would go with them? Wouldn't be Zuko and May. Well, actually, no, it probably would be Zuko and May, because they're the only ones who can tolerate those two. But then again, Zuko and Azula would probably get into a huge fight with each other, and poor Ty Lee and May would just be like, God damn it. Well, probably another one that would probably give them the benefit of going on a double date with them is Aang and Katara, because they'd be willing to. I think Aang would be trying to give Azula the benefit of the doubt, probably. That's how I see it. Alright, your final question is, how would you work Tyzula canon? Well, I guess, with Korasami being officially canon, I guess the comics can go any way now. It's actually kind of funny because Mike and Brian recently said in an interview that there were other characters that they wanted to have be gay, but they never had the time to expand those characters, and one of them was Kaya. Yeah, Tenzin's older sister is out of the closet, apparently. It's kind of like when you ask Greg Weisman, like, which characters are gay in his list, and then you find out Lex is one of them, and as well as Electro in Spectacular Spider-Man. Yeah, no, really, Electro was gay in that universe, but they never expanded on it. That was just part of his character. So there you go. And I guess that's. Let me just say this: it's probably a smart thing not to do that outright. Because then you'd just be like, oh, look at that, they're so out there. No, it's just part of the character. It's just who they are. It's kind of like in The Flash when the chief of police was revealed to be gay, and it was just a passing comment. It was like, oh, my boyfriend doesn't let me eat this, or, and they finally reveal him, and it's just like, oh, it's just part of his character. Moving right along. It's not like they make a big deal of it. So, good on Mike and Brian for doing that. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. I guess the one way I could see it making it canon is that that Ty Lee tries to help rehabilitate Azula, or goes out to go looking for her, because at the end of that horrible book, what was it, The Search, right? Azula runs off into the forest, and yeah, we don't see her again. So maybe Ty Lee goes out looking for her, and yeah. I guess that's a way to start it. Anyway, think of those questions, Zach. Moving on now to Jackie Lee, whose first question is, since if Ty Lee and Azula are to be a couple, do you think that these two would marry each other if gay marriage is acceptable in their timeline? I would imagine, well, probably the Fire Nation under Ozai's reign probably would be very anti-gay. I would imagine some states in the Earth Kingdom would be like that too. But with, with now Zuko in charge, I guess, like, everybody can love everybody. So, I think that would be, I think it's possible now that, I probably wouldn't see it in the old era of Avatar: The Last Airbender with Ozai and all that. But now with Zuko in charge, and, all of that, all the changes that happened, I could see it. I could see it. Anyway. So, anyway, thank you for that question, Jackie Lee. Moving on now to the Spawn117, who asks, what would happen if Azula and Ty Lee were in Dead Space and Aliens? I feel more bad for the creatures from Dead Space and Alien. I feel bad for those creatures, but Azula and Ty Lee, I could just see them standing on like a hill, fighting their way against xenomorphs and necromorphs. That'd be great. Alright. Second question. Do you think Ty Lee would make a great S.H.I.E.L.D. agent or Hellsing agent? I think S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, because if she was a Hellsing agent, she probably would freak out and, give up and break down. So, she should probably just have a mental breakdown of all the horrors she's seeing. S.H.I.E.L.D., she could probably deal with it better, so I'd say S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. And your final question is, what would be Azula's thought if she ever saw Darth Vader? Interesting, because I think Vader would sense the power of the dark side in her to a very high extent, and I could see that, I could definitely see a lot of power and potential within her, but I think Azula would be intimidated by Vader. So that's what I think. Anyway, thank you for those questions, Spawn117. Moving on now to the Hellish Smile, who asks, this is so awesome. His words, not mine. But no, really, his first question is, what caused you to ship them? What caused me to ship Tyzula? Okay. I think what got me into liking this ship is because, again, it's very similar to the Joker and Harley Quinn, but you can see a little more light in Azula than you can with Joker. And there have been a few good pieces of fan art I've seen that got me into liking the pairing, and a few good fan fictions here and there. And I thought about it more, and it's like, there is no other person in Avatar that had managed to... I wouldn't say that. It looks like Ty Lee had a lot more influence over Azula than most people. You almost get the sense that, you know, she's so dopey, and on the other hand, she can. It's almost like she's playing the idiot because she's a lot smarter than you think. She may be a lot smarter than you think, and again, it's like she had. She's the only person who allowed, like, who hugged Azula the first time they met, and you can clearly tell that she does not let people touch her. You know, you can clearly tell Azula does not let people touch her. So, I really liked it. I thought about it more as like their very hot and cold personalities, pun intended. And yeah, it just kind of grew on me. It grew on me very much. So, if you had to rank your favorite Avatar ships, where would Tyzula fall? I think it would be right under... Well, Korosami's number 1. Number 2 is Mako. I guess you could say Tyzula's number 3. Yeah, Tyzula's number 3, and more... Yeah, definitely in the top 5. Do you know how much... Third question. Do you know how much I love you for doing this video? Over 9,000? Just gonna throw that out there. I kind of figured you would show up, Smile. I kind of figured you would show up at this Q&A. The moment I thought of doing this, I was like, he's gonna show up, isn't he? It's like a duck caller for the Hellish Smile. Tyzula! Tyzula! Hellish Smile's head just pokes out of the ground like like from Duck Hunt. There you go. I didn't mean it like, I kind of figured, like, after I did the Prelude video, I was like, he's gonna show up. Yeah, so, think of those questions, Hellish Smile. Moving on now to ActionFan19, who asks, out of 2 of them, who's hotter? I vote Ty Lee. Seeing as that they're both 17, I can't really say anything, so, yeah. I guess you could say, I don't know, I feel weird now. Anyway, moving on. Second question. Do you think Ty Lee and Sonata from Rainbow Rocks could get along? Absolutely. Absolutely. I could see those two being BFFs right away. And Sonata introducing Ty Lee to tacos. Yes, Azula being introduced to tacos. I want that to be a fanfiction now. Get on it. Yeah. In fact, when you think about it, the Sirens are very much like Azula, May, and Ty Lee. When you think about it, because Azula and Adagio have very similar personalities. Same with May and Arya, and same with Ty Lee and Sonata. Like, seriously, did the creators of when they were writing Rainbow Rocks, did they just watch an episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender and go, "We're gonna base those characters off those"? Look, the shoulders of giants. That's what we. Yeah. Go back and look at, an episode of Avatar, then go watch Rainbow Rocks, and then come back and tell me they don't have the exact personality. They do. Oh, they do. But yeah, if anything else, I'd love to see Sonata and Ty Lee bonding over tacos. Anyway. Alright. Would Azula serve Surtur if given the chance? Probably, yeah. I could more or less see Azula serving Surtur. Absolutely. So think of those questions, ActionFan19. Moving on to Andre Partridge, who asks, if Ty Lee and Azula ever had a kid together, what kind of child would you imagine it to be? I kind of imagine the kid probably... I would imagine if they had kids, whether by adoption or something, I would imagine the personality, one of the kids would be very much like his or her mother, and the other one being much like mother number 2, Ty Lee, so you'd have one happy-go-lucky one and one more interested in his or her firebending than, anything else. And wouldn't it be cool if, like, they had one kid who not only learned firebending but also learned Ty Lee's acrobatic skills? Could you imagine? That kid would be a ninja. Alright. Second question. How do you think Aang and each of his friends would react if Ty Lee said to them that she'd successfully rehabilitated Azula and she announced that they are going to be married soon? I think Aang would be very, I think Aang would be trying to be very, understanding of it all, but Zuko and everyone else would be like, look, there may be no hope for my sister, so maybe she's pulling her leg, or maybe she's manipulated Ty Lee or something. They would not trust Azula at all. That would be the sad truth. And third question, how do you imagine their sex lives? Kind of imagine, the best way I could probably put it is that what they would probably do in their off time would probably make 50 Shades of Grey look like a Bible. Knowing those two personalities. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for those questions, Andre. Moving on now to Sora versus Ka, whose first question is... First question is, which ballroom dance would Ty Lee and Azula be perfect at? The tango or the jitterbug? I kind of imagine them doing the tango, because that would probably fit Azula and Ty Lee's style. More so Azula. I could see her grabbing Ty Lee, pulling her on the dance floor with a rose in her mouth, and trying to be romantic and shit. Alright. Would Master Cyclonus and Azula be BFFs? Oh, hell yeah. They would totally be, allies. I think that, yeah, they would totally be BFFs. Yeah. And what would happen if Adagio Dazzle and Azula met? Like I said with Sonata and Ty Lee, those characters would instantly get along very well. I think Azula and Adagio would just be talking about, you've got one moody friend that doesn't talk much, and the other one's a chipper idiot. I feel your pain. Yeah. So, thank you for those questions. Sora, moving on now to W. Simmons. First question is, what their reaction to Gira from Naruto, aka the pervy sage. Azula would probably kick his ass and go about their way. Zuko's reaction to finding this out, he would probably be, I think with Zuko, I think with Zuko, he would be, stunned, because, Azula could never, I think the biggest thing is that he always thought his sister could never love anyone but herself, and even then that's a stretch. So the fact that she's showing a lot of love to Ty Lee, of all people, would stun him more than, I don't think he would be like, oh, my sister's dating another girl, ugh. No. It's actually kind of funny, because there was another fanfiction, and again, I haven't been able to see this one in a while. It was on fanfiction. I think it got deleted or something, but this was way back, way back, where it was an alternate universe story of a modern AU, and Zuko in there was a firefighter. No bending, by the way. There was no bending here. I can't even remember the goddamn title. But Zuko was a firefighter, and Sokka was his partner, and the story revolved around Zuko trying to come to terms with his sister coming out of the closet with Ty Lee. And that was the whole story, and I thought it felt very much like Slice of Life, and it actually felt more like an episode of Friends, if anything else, or How I Met Your Mother, but it was hilarious, nonetheless. And then, anyway, I can't even remember the titles of the story, and I can't even remember I don't even know if it's still on there. I need to go look for it, or something, I don't know. Anyway. Their reaction to Master Roshi. Master Roshi would be like, young lesbians, you have me interested. He would just be hiding in the bushes, then Azula would just set the bush on fire, he'd run away screaming while on fire. That's how I see it. Anyway, thank you for those questions, W. Simmons. Moving on now to John Kelly, who asks, where do they go on a romantic vacation? I think away from people. I think generally, since Azula does not like people, I think they would go somewhere like maybe somewhere remote for a while, like somewhere in the mountains of the Fire Nation, or somewhere deep in the Earth Kingdom, somewhere like I said, away from people. And I know Tylee's a people person, but I think she would want to go somewhere just to stay alone with Azula for a while, because again, she probably got out of rehab, so she probably wouldn't want all that human contact all at once. Anyway, second question: how do you think their relationship starts? Like I said, Tylee trying to rehabilitate Azula, or helping to rehabilitate her, and something grows from there. Third question: how well do you think they could raise a child? I think Tylee would be doing a lot of the raising, because Azula, I don't know how she feels about kids, probably not good, so I would imagine that at first she would be kind of against the idea of raising a kid, but kind of warm up to it, because obviously she didn't exactly have the best father figure. So I think that she would be much like her father, whereas she had her mother, her mother thought she was a monster, and at least in her perspective she did. But I think with Azula, I think she would be kind of hesitant of being a mother or a parent in general. Yeah, just a parent in general, because obviously she didn't. She thought she had the perfect life, but when she kind of thinks back to it, it's like, yeah, I had a father who was obsessed with making me the perfect weapon, and a mother who cared nothing for me. So I am least qualified for this job. So I think it would be anything, just see Azula kind of be a mother would be interesting. So anyway, thank you for that question, John Kelly. Moving on to Alex Inayez, who asks, what exactly is the love for Tyzula all about? I have no problem with the ship, with anyone's ship, but why? I will admit that it is a very, off-putting ship to most people, because obviously Azula is so dangerous and so unstable, or we have Tylee, who is this very happy-go-lucky type character. But you gotta understand, I think, like I said before, it's very much like the Joker and Harley Quinn, but it's a little more. You can see a little more light in Azula than you can with the Joker. That's the best way I can look at it. So thank you for that question, Alex. Moving on now to Dylan Malone 14, who asks, favorite Tyzula moment. Favorite Tyzula moment. I'd have to say, favorite Tyzula moment is, I guess, this comes from a fan fiction of I guess, yeah, you didn't say from the TV show, so I guess I could pick anywhere. Sorry, Dylan, but I'll go with fan fiction. There's a fan fiction I was reading, and Azula was planning on leaving. She'd been let out of rehabilitation, and she was planning on leaving the Fire Nation just to go live away from everybody else. But Tylee said, I don't feel, she was talking about, look, I don't want you to go. You're the only person in the universe I have left, because my parents don't want to see me anymore. She also got kicked out of the Kyoshi Warriors for some other reason. I can't remember the reason, but I can't remember the reason why. But yeah, they just decided, hey, we'll just go live in the Earth Kingdom together. Anyway, so that's my favorite moment. Favorite crossover pairing for them. I guess for Azula, I kind of liked Azula and Itachi from Naruto for a while. Yeah, that was actually almost a canon pairing of Ichazula. I remember that. It was big on DeviantArt for a while. I think it still has some popularity there. But yeah, Itachi and Azula is one. I kind of see Tylee with Odd from Code Lyoko. I think those two would get along perfectly. Tylee and Odd, or Sonata and Tylee. Yeah, Sonata. There you go, Tainata. There you go, or Sonata Lee, or yeah, Tainata and Adagio and Azula. Yeah, Adagio and Azula would all. Adagula. There you go. There. I just launched some more ships. Yay me. Alright, so thank you for those questions, Dylan Malone. Moving on now to Aaron Izzard, who asks, how were you introduced to the concept of Tyzula? How was I introduced to it? I guess through fan fiction and fan art, and that was where it kind of grew. But in my head, when I was watching the show, it's kind of festered in my head for a while, and I was like, I like it. Anyway, so thank you for that question, Aaron. Moving on now to Omnitron12345, who asks, if Azula was ever let of the nut house and became at least a neutral character, what would you see her and Ty Lee's life being like? Royal affairs or choosing a simpler life? I think, like I said earlier, I think Azula probably would not be allowed in the royal courts because Zuko probably A, wouldn't trust her, and B, she's probably a little nutty. So I think Ty Lee would probably get her away to live on Kyoshi Island or somewhere in the Earth Kingdom with her for a while. But under supervision, obviously under some supervision, because there are a lot of people who still don't trust her. Anyway, so, yeah. Second question, do you think the Avatar world has gay rights, and if they don't, do you think they would after Azula and Ty Lee's done rampaging? Like I said, it probably wouldn't be under Ozai's rule and some of the old kingdoms, after Zuko and everyone else, the good guys won after the 100-Year War, then they probably would have that. So I'm gonna have to say yeah. Third question: I know Azula is the controlling, manipulative type, but Ty Lee has shown she can stand up to her. So who would really wear the pants in this relationship? I think it would be I honestly think it would be shared, really, because I think those two. I think, like you said, Azula's very manipulative and very, demands power and whatnot. But on the other hand, I think Ty Lee would be willing to say, nope, not gonna do it, and you can't make me. So I think it would be shared, really. Okay. Thank you for those questions, Omnitron. Moving on now to Major Badass, whose first question: what similar couple, one evil or at least an asshole, another nice, kind of dopey, would you like to see them interact with? Can't really think of a couple right off the bat that is similar to that, like one evil or asshole-ish and the other one stupid, because the other ones I have, the other pairings I'm into are not really like that. They have some characteristics between them, and Ty Lee and Azula have some characteristics between the two, but I don't know, like right off the bat, who I could see hanging. Oh, okay, maybe the closest I guess you could say is Marie Kanker and Ed from Ed, Edd n Eddy. Even though he's obviously not stupid, he's very smart. But that's the closest I could say them hanging out with, probably. Anyway, second question: do you think Azula would be the jealous type? Oh, hell yes, absolutely, 100%, absolutely. She would be the jealous type. Like, if someone was even Ty Lee would probably be the jealous type. Like, if I saw, I could imagine, Ty Lee and Azula at a ball or something, and one of the guests talking to Ty Lee, Azula would go right over and probably set the guy or other girl on fire. Yeah. Anyway. Alright, thank you for those questions, Major Badass. Moving on now to Adhavan Rajasham. I completely butchered that name. I am so sorry. I am so sorry for completely butchering that name. I am terribly sorry for that. But anyway, again, I'm really sorry for butchering that name. So I'm gonna ask. But Adhavan asks, what would Tyzula's ship look like? I'm referring to how you tend to talk about ships as if they were physical boats, and calling the Stivoni boat like a little tugboat or something along those lines. Okay, for those who don't know, sometimes I like to, for shits and giggles, I refer to some of my ships as actual boats in my fleet. And I kind of imagine the Tyzula boat looking like Azula's ship from her first appearance, that huge Imperial ship, but with its it has pink highlights on it, like pink trim to it, and little hearts that Tylee would paint on it when Azula's not looking. And when they're painted on there, Azula's like, God damn it, I'm trying to look intimidating. But Tylee would be like, oh, you know you like it. And she'd be like, yeah, I do. So this big, intimidating ship, but paint would have some pink on it. Because Tylee, when Azula's not looking, would paint the whole goddamn thing pink. But it would still look scary. Yeah. So that's how I kind of imagine their ship. What their ship would look like. Anyway. Alright. Do you think Tylee would hold out during a long-distance relationship when Azula is either being committed or facing jail time? I could imagine, yeah, she does seem like the loyal type. I mean, yeah, she stunned her right in the back, but she was trying to save May. So I kind of give her credit for being still loyal to May, not really Azula, but I could see her like trying to apologize for that and being loyal in that sense to Azula as well. So, yeah. Anyway, think of those questions, Athavan, and again, I'm so sorry for butchering your name on a whole. Anyway. So the next set of questions come from Christian Sager, who asks, do you think this ship could ever work? Well, I kind of already answered this question. So, yeah, I kind of said this. I said it could work in the past, so, yeah. Second question. Does ship always mean sexual romantic relationship, or are there instances, besides Connie and Steven, where it could just mean good friends? Yeah, I mean, that's what the original idea what shipping was that it was either supposed to be friendship or mentorship or something, but then, you know, the internet it eventually evolved into just relationship. So, yeah, that's how it kind of came to be, is that it started out as like mentorshipping or friendshipping, but now it's just plain old, it's now just relationshipping. So third question. I have a theory that Azula forced Tylee and May into playing with her. Okay, Azula forced May and Tylee into playing with her as kids under the threat of Daddy Dearest incinerating their homes and families. What do you think? That kind of makes sense of Azula and Tylee and May being forced to. You have to remember that both their fathers are noblemen, and if your daughter is now friends with the princess of the Fire Lord, then you probably got in good. So that's also one way you could look at it as well. So, but the theory makes sense on your end too, Christian Sager. So think of those questions. Moving right along to Wolfman the Impaler, who asks, if Tylee and Azula asked you to join in a threesome that involves S&M, would you accept? No, on so many levels. Just no. No, 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 no. 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 What do you prefer, Tyzula or Korrasami? In the words of Dr. Zoidberg, why not both? That's my best Zoidberg impression right there. Anyway, so say Azula and Tylee make a sex tape and the rest of the cast finds it. What is their reaction? Well, I think Zuko would probably vomit. May would be like, huh, mine are bigger. And Katara would not want to look. Sokka would be like, is there like a copy of this tape? I'm just asking for a friend. Is there like a copy of this? Aang would not want to watch. Iroh would be like, oof, no. Yeah. So I think like on a whole, except Sokka would not want to watch. But I think they would all be like, how did they get the camera? And how did they get the was someone doing the angle shots? And in the background you see Momo like, yeah, I held the camera. That's in your head now, everybody. Good luck forgetting it. Hey, you open the door, Wolfman. I'm gonna... I just slammed the door on ya. Whatever. I'm being stupid now. Anyway, so Thank you for those questions regardless, Wolfman the Impaler. Moving on now to King Nazaru, and King Nazaru asks, why do Tyzula when you can do Tyzaru? You and Tylee. I'm gonna have to say because I've read more stuff of that, and also that's my ship, so I'm gonna stay with Tyzula. That's just me. Alright, who do you think has the better butt, Tyzula or Tylee? Well, considering they're both still underage characters, then I can't say anything on that. Absolutely not. And your final question is, have you read the fanfic about Tylee becoming a Sith Lord and running a new galactic empire? No, I have not read this fanfic, nor have I heard of it. And I think that would be... I hope it's a comedy, because Tylee is not a good leader. I mean, can you imagine her running the galactic empire? I mean, Sith Lord let alone, but running the entire empire by herself, yeah, that's going to lead to some lulls, people. That's going to lead to some major lulls. So, I think that is all the questions. I think that is pretty much all the, I think that's all the questions. Yeah. I want to thank everybody for asking questions. This was a lot of fun. And once again, if you had a question on here that I did not ask, or did not answer, or that usually means YouTube was being a dick, either marked it as spam or didn't have it show up on the list at all. So I do apologize once again for that. But I do want to thank everybody who did ask a lot of questions. This was actually had a really good turnout. I didn't think this was roughly about 20 questions, and that's actually a really good turnout on a whole. So maybe I'll do another shipper-centric Q&A in the future. That may be a possibility, but we'll see. Anyway, once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later. But one thing before I go. Like I said, this is really cool. I didn't think this would get very far, and I might do another shipping-centric Q&A in the future. Maybe another Avatar one, because the Avatar ones are very big. Probably some of the biggest ships out there. So I may do another one, whether it be centric on Zuko and Mei, or Mako or Korosami. If I do another shipping one, it'll probably most likely be an Avatar-centric one, because like I said, those are the really big ships out there. So if I ever did another one, that would probably be the that would probably be the go-to thing. But yeah, I'm just still shocked that, I honestly did this as a video just thinking, man, is anyone gonna go for this? Because really, is anyone seriously gonna go for this idea? And sure enough, so yay! The idea worked. Yay! Anyway, so sorry for rambling. I'm gonna shut up now. Anyway, once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.